It's week 2. We've got some waiver wire ads to get that team over the hump. I know you guys are worried, but hey, it's going to get better.
Perfect.
We are back. Welcome back to the Fourth and Flex Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Bandy. That's Trey, and the time is forever now. Buddy, what is happening?
What's going on, man? Week 1 in the books. What a crazy week 1 it was. I mean, overreaction has been kind of crazy with what we've had. I mean, Tyreek Hill got arrested and then got an 80-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
Bo Nix changed his name to Bo Picks. I mean, it's been an insane weekend.
It really was, buddy. It really was. I'm so pumped that we're back, though. We are back, buddy. And, of course, we're going to help you with your waiver wire ads, get you some people for shows. Those of you who maybe lost Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Love, we've got some ads for you. We're going all through quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends, running backs. We got them all for you. But first, we got to tell you about our friends from Underdogg Fantasy. Listen, Underdogg Fantasy has got like prize picks type of things, over unders, ups and downs. If you think you can turn $5 into $500, then you'll be in the right place. If you go over there and use our code FLEXY, that's FLEXY, they're going to match your deposit up to $100. And it ain't gonna matter. You can take that 100, you can flip it into more, baby. So go over to Underdogg Fantasy and use the code FLEXY.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But we do got some stuff going on, man. We've got some waiver wire ads. So we need to go ahead and hop in them, Trey. Let's get to some quarterbacks, okay? Quarterback waiver wire ads, week 2. Let's go. I'm starting us off with a bang here in Derek Carr, okay? 14% rostered in sleeper leagues. QB6 on the week, believe it or not, okay? 19 of 23, went 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a 47-10 win over the Panthers. Look, first drive, Derek Carr goes out there, 59-yard touchdown reception to who? Rashid Shaheed. Then a dart throw to Foster Moreau, who was also on the Raiders with him when he was there. The third one to Juwan Johnson. Are you kind of seeing something here? He seems to like the tight ends and short throws for the other two. And then he's got Rashid to be the long bomb guy. I really like that, man. And maybe I was one of those guys that were actually sleeping on Rashid Shaheed. Great in the later rounds. Somebody we probably should have added, especially in best ball. Look, he looked good in the new system. Offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, had to make sure I said that right, okay, is the new offensive coordinator over there, and Derek Carr was looking great in the new system, man. Maybe they found something here. Look, he was stepping up in the pocket. He was looking confident, and I think that's a good reason to have Derek Carr on your team. Now, next week they've got a matchup with the Cowboys, so maybe wait till week 3 before you bust out the Derek Carr.
I don't know, man. I think that, that could be a shootout type of game, the Cowboys love to throw it deep, and Derek Carr loves to throw it deep. The only thing I think is so sad is poor Chris Olave with 2 points out there. Really devastating for all those people that took him in, 3rd or 4th round, when you could have got Rashid Shaheed in the 12th.
I mean, it's one game. It's like those overreactions,
Exactly. But Rashid Shaheed, man, he looks like a good baller, and Derek Carr looking, he kind of does this though. Every year he starts the season with several 300-yard games back to back to back, and that's when it gets to crunch time is when it really starts affecting him. So I would say definitely a great waiver wire ad. Just be wary towards the end of the season.
Absolutely, buddy. I like it.
Jumping to our next quarterback waiver wire ad. A guy that I can't believe you passed on, but you probably didn't think he was rostered this little. A guy who's less than 60% rostered on sleeper leagues, Baker Mayfield, baby.
Ooh, welcome, Baker. I don't think this will be the first time you make this list, buddy.
Completed 24 of 30 pass attempts for 289 yards and 4 touchdowns while rushing for 21 yards on 3 attempts.
You seen that, right? You see
Yes,
him hit
sir.
that bad boy with the sniff?
Listen, he only missed 6 pass attempts and he had 0 turnovers, which is kind of the Baker thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
They got Detroit next week, which I think is going to be a little bit more of a difficult matchup with the Detroit's defense, but I think that could also be a shootout game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Baker's really in the zone. Godwin playing well. Evans playing good. They got Rashad White doing his thing and Bucky Irvin in there. I mean, they got a lot of group of guys going on over there putting in that work.
Yes, they do, buddy. Yes, they do. Commissioner Cooper, Baker Mayfield season. Hey, you hear it, you see it. I was on your show and I was in the comments on his show. I said Baker Mayfield, top 10 quarterback, and he said, "I don't know about that, Bandy." Hey, man, did that one hurt a little bit, right? Look at the smile on Bandy's face. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But yes, Baker Mayfield, man. I hate to say I called it, but I mean, I don't want to overreact either on the good side because, anything can happen during the season. And that's exactly what Commissioner Cooper's saying week 1, bruh. You're right. But look, I did say Chris Godwin was going to have a resurgence. And it's all clicking for them. I hope it continues to click. And from what I hear from the Bucs organization, it's Super Bowl or bust this year, and that's what I like to hear.
Yeah, no doubt.
But moving on to another guy on our list, we got another quarterback waiver wire ad for your week 2 teams. It's Sam Darnold. Okay, Sam Darnold, 3% rostered, quarterback 14 in week 1. Lots of quarterbacks perform not as well as Sam Darnold. A lot of guys you wouldn't expect either. 19 of 24, 208 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 28-6 win over the Giants. It's Sam Darnold, man. Now we know, we hope, at least after at least 1 week of seeing what it looks like, that Sam Darnold can support fantasy relevant players. Aaron Jones in the backfield, Justin Jefferson, which I'm sure that's why he was dropping, that Sam Darnold was going to be his quarterback. But Justin Jefferson still found the end zone in week 1 with Sam Darnold at the helm. So, think about this. It was almost kind of magical. Sam Darnold coming back to MetLife Stadium. We played for the Jets, which basically ruined his career, made him a career backup. This may be Sam Darnold's last chance to prove that he's more than just a backup. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. And for your fantasy teams, man, he's got Justin Jefferson. I mean, why not? Super flex, deeper leagues. Sam Darnold could definitely help your team out, especially if you're in one of those deep leagues and Jordan Love went out and there's basically nothing on the wire, Trey.
Without a doubt. And obviously, they played the Giants, who are a dumpster fire of a team so far. So that definitely boosted those numbers a little bit. But I do think that, we've seen that Sam Darnold can, and I don't want to say manage this team, with the guys that he's got around him. He's got a solid core group, and Sam Darnold, if anything, he's got experience.
He does.
And he's got experience with great players, and he knows how to use them and put them and put the ball on them in the right spots. And if he can continue to do that, he can continue to be good for fantasy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Guys, we got one more quarterback on the list, man. I'm going to get to your fantasy questions down in the comments. If you got more fantasy football questions for week 2, go ahead, throw them down in the comments. We're going to get to them, but go ahead with your QB Trey.
Last QB on our list, we've got Gardner Minshew here, baby. 25 of 33 passes for 257 yards and 1 touchdown. He did have 1 interception, but he's really shown the ability to help skill position players in his offense produce. And I've said that repeatedly through the offseason, that Gardner Minshew is not anyone to just brush off. Now, this is obviously more for Superflex leagues,
sure.
But there's a lot of quarterbacks that you probably drafted in your Superflex leagues that are really disappointing in you and might continue to disappoint you. And where I think Gardner Minshew is actually going to, he's not going to probably have too much of amazing weeks, but he's going to be consistent for your team. And I'm looking for consistency at times in fantasy.
Absolutely. Gardner Minshew, he wasn't amazing in his first start, but he was okay. It is Gardner Minshew. I think he is going to get it under control, and I think he's actually going to surprise people. You're going to be glad you picked him up on the wire in week 1. Trey. So I like the ad there. I like it a lot. We've got some running back waiver wire ads, wide receivers, tight ends. They're all coming, but the comments are blowing up, Trey, and I think we need to help these folks because it's basically what we do, okay? Guys, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Fourth and Flex. We appreciate the love. We appreciate the support, and let's see what we got here, buddy. Sarah Quinn? Yeah, Sarah Quinn says, do I pick up JMO and likely in waiver. I have Trey already, and my wide receivers are AJ, CD, and Nico. Jamison Wilson, Isaiah Likely in waiver. Do I pick them up? He has Trey already. Which Trey is that, by the way?
Palmer, maybe?
I don't know. Let's see. Should he pick up JMO and Likely on waivers?
Yes. The answer is yes. I think if both of those guys are on your waivers, I would go for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know a Trey relevant enough to worry about him. So
For sure. I like it. Caps for life, gentlemen. What's happening? Caps for life. Welcome to the live stream. Don't forget to hit the like button. Show some love. Caps for Life says, just traded CJ Stroud and Singletary for Josh Allen and Pittman. Will the veto vultures come out?
It's possible, but I don't think it's the worst, veto-worthy type trade. I think that, CJ Stroud for Josh Allen, CJ Stroud's on the rise. Josh Allen still did his thing. So I think Josh Allen has a little bit above him, but I think that Singletary might have quite a bit above Pittman. So depending on how the matchups are set and how it balances out the teams, I don't think it's veto worthy. I also don't think most trades are veto worthy unless there's collusion. If you can convince someone in your league who doesn't know what they're doing to make a trade that doesn't make sense, I think you make that trade. I think that's their fault for not doing their due diligence to fantasy. But as long as there's no collusion, I don't think any trade should be vetoed.
Well, that's the issue, Trey. Is it collusion or is it somebody who doesn't know what they're doing? That as a commissioner, you got to figure that out, right?
Well, sure, but it sounds to me like this is not collusion, or
Yeah, no, it
he
doesn't
wouldn't be
feel like
asking on a
collusion.
podcast,
It sounds like
but
maybe a Texans fan or somebody who really believes in CJ Stroud, and they just want to get in on that.
Yeah,
they think it's going to pop off, and for good reason. Let's see here. Oh my goodness. Let's see.
Trey McBride. I don't know why I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, Trey McBride. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so let's look at it one more time because I want to make sure I gave him the right information. Pick up JMO and Likely. Okay, so basically he's wanting to pick up Isaiah Likely. He has Trey McBride. Obviously I think it depends on your league. I play in a couple leagues that are tight end premium.
Yeah.
I would be okay with flexing Likely and having Trey McBride as my tight end. But if it's not a situation like that, I think that you could pick up Likely as trade fodder. Even but I would stick with Trey McBride. I think don't overreact to the week one.
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. Glad we went back and figured that out. KC's defense or the Chargers defense, Trey?
I lean Kansas City.
Sure.
I know that the Chargers are playing the Panthers, which is kind of that thing you follow around, but I still think I lean Kansas City because the Chargers defense really isn't that great either.
Yeah, buddy. Hey guys, should I use my waiver one priority to pick up Irving? If so, who should I drop? Trey Benson or Blake Corum? Bucky Irving. Should he pick up Bucky Irving? And if he does, should he drop Trey Benson or Blake Corum, Trey?
Yeah, I think I would definitely pick up Bucky Irving. I would probably lean towards dropping Blake Corum over Trey Benson, but I like Bucky Irving as a pickup.
I do too, buddy. I do too. Hey, Bobby Ort over on Twitch. What's happening, buddy? Thoughts on Rashee Rice?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that, it was a rough week for him a little bit, but he got more targets than everybody else on the team.
Yeah.
So just because, Worthy outperformed him by points doesn't mean that's the way it's going to continue. No.
With the Hollywood Brown coming back, does that scare you with Rashee Rice going forward? And plus all the craziness going on with him going forward.
I mean, it does. It definitely does. But you drafted him, right? Sure. And it's week one. So I'm, hang on.
Yeah. Hold on, baby. Hold on. Cast for Life says, thoughts on the Rams tight end, Cody Parkinson, Trey.
We'll get to that a little bit later.
We will get to that, buddy. We will get to that. Let's see here. We got a big one, Trey. First one of the season. 10-team PPR. My squad is Caleb Williams, JT Kamara, JJ, Marv Andrews, DJ Moore, T. Ford, Ramondre Spears. Anybody I should trade? And if so, should I try to get?
If you'll stick around towards the end of our show, we have our Trade Dat Dude segment.
Absolutely.
We're going to let you know exactly who you should trade and who you should go get.
Absolutely. Oh, man. Good stuff. Let's see. I'm going to do one more, and then we're going to get to the running back waiver wire ads. You guys can keep throwing them down in the description, man, and we will get to them. Sarah Quinn says, I want to add another running back just in case something happens. I have David and Gibbs and also Walker. Kenneth Walker, David Montgomery, Gibbs. I know you don't like starting two guys in one. What's another running back that you think they could add? Well, we're about to get to running back waiver wire ads. So, yeah. Hold on, baby. We coming. Guys, no matter where you're watching Fourth and Flex, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit the like button, man. It means a lot to us. We really work hard. We really care. If you want to put your love into a podcast that really cares about the people in the game of fantasy football is their life, come on over to Fourth and Flex, man. Just show some love for us, man, and become a Flexaholic, man. Join the family. You can become a member. You get all kinds of member perks, emojis down in the comments, all kinds of cool stuff, man. Viewer-friendly videos. We'll go live. We're going to help you with your teams. Become a Flexaholic, man, and join the family. Trey.
Do it.
Let's get to it, Trey. We've got some running back waiver wire ads for week 2. Let's pop into them right now, starting it off with Justice Hill. Okay, 12% rostered in sleeper leagues, went for 1 carry for 6 yards, but 6 receptions for 54 yards. Look, this is a guy who's playing opposite of Derrick Henry, so I can understand why people were overlooking him a lot and why he's still only 12% rostered, but he played 54% of the snaps, Trey. He literally outsnapped Derrick Henry on the Ravens. It kind of makes me feel like, maybe they just want to keep Derrick Henry as fresh as possible. Get a guy like Justice Hill in there to do some damage, okay? In your full PPR leagues with those 6 catches, he got 6 points off the rip, okay? Full PPR, 1 point per reception, 6 points off the rip, plus the 54 yards, couple of carries, first down or 2. I'm just saying, man, Justice Hill could be a guy, especially in deeper leagues, that could help you out in a pinch or when those bye weeks come a-calling. He could be a guy to look out for, Trey.
Yeah, I definitely like Justice Hill as an ad in full PPR formats. I definitely think, it might not be somebody that you're going to start every week, but in a pinch, it's definitely a move. I do think, however, that the game script kind of led for Justice Hill to have more of the percentage because they were trailing. Sure. So they're going to do more of a PPR passing to the running back kind of deal. And in games where the Ravens are winning, Derrick Henry's going to get a little bit more of that work. And typically the Ravens are winning. Yeah. But, this is a new year, new him and new team. So who knows what it's going to look like. I do think that Justice Hill is going to be a great ad because it sounds like it's going to be a split consistently. Mm-hmm. The coach come out and said, we did not get Derrick Henry to run him 30 times or give him 30 snaps a game. They want to use him when they need to and not lose him if they don't need to.
Absolutely.
So Justice Hill will definitely continue to get work going down the stretch.
Yeah, buddy. He sure will.
Jumping to our next running back waiver wire ad. His name is Alexander Madison. Alexander Mattison, baby. 19 yards on 5 carries and 4 catches on 6 targets for 43 yards and a touchdown. Mm-hmm. He outsnapped Zamir White 36-23. No one saw this coming. Alexander Mattison, the guy that we've seen do amazing things, played just like prime Dalvin Cook when he got the whole workload. It sounds like he's the kind of PPR guy on this team. And this is a situation like I was just talking about where, the Raiders are probably going to be playing from behind a lot. Yeah. And if Alexander Madison is their running back that's catching the ball, I think he's going to get more points week in and week out than Zamir White. I think I would take Alexander Madison over Zamir White straight up. And I think he's definitely a great ad out there that's sitting on your waiver wire. They got the Ravens coming up next, so these guys will be going against each other, and I think the Ravens probably have the upside in that game. Yeah. And I think Alexander Madison is going to get those PPR points for you guys out there in full PPR leagues.
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely, man. Alexander Madison, I mean, this is a guy that, we knew had potential last season as the guy, okay? It really didn't pan out for him, okay? But you put him in a backfield with Zamir White where they're kind of splitting carries. Maybe it's a little uneven on the carries snap percentages. But look, it seems like he does better there when he has fresher legs. He's not being counted on. So, yeah, I like Alexander Madison as an ad this week, Trey.
No doubt.
Let's move on to the next guy. This is a guy we've kind of discussed a little bit already. It's Bucky Irving, okay, on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 25% rostered, RB 33 on the week, which is pretty good for being like the 60th, 70th RB off the board. You know what I mean? Yeah. 9 carries for 62 yards, 2 catches for 14 yards. It's looking like a 2-headed backfield in Tampa, to be completely honest. I mean, this guy averaged 6.9 yards per carry. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? The Bucks leading rusher also, man, nobody saw that coming. And he's just going to continue to get work, man. It seems like they've kind of figured out that Rachaad White is going to be best in the passing game and maybe he's a little bit of on the outside type of guy. Rachaad running through the tackles doesn't always seem to work out as well, but that's why they brought Bucky Irving in, man, to make it that two-headed backfield where he can kind of get through the tackles and push through as a young guy with those fresh legs, Trey.
Yeah, man, I think a lot of teams are pushing towards that to have kind of a PPR style running back, receiving running back, and then a running back that goes through the tackles. And so that way they're splitting the workload a little bit. They're not taking all that heat. They're not getting slammed 100 times a game. And it's kind of forming like that. The only thing, my only step back basically from Bucky Irving is that the Bucks were leading that game and you know he probably got a little bit extra work from just being in the lead and wanting to see what he can do, but he showed that he can do it, which I think can carry forward even more work than he was planning on getting when the year started.
By the way, they demolished them in that game. Just throwing that out there. Oh, good stuff, buddy. Bucky Irving, man, good ad this week, Trey.
Moving on to my last and favorite running back ad this week. It's got to be a guy we've talked about all preseason. I've been bragging on him, telling him, go out and get this guy with your third to second last pick. J.K. Dobbins, baby.
I was going to get him, but I thought you were just kidding.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was a good one. He had 10 carries for 135 yards and a touchdown. He also caught 3 of his 4 targets for 4 yards. You know, not a lot of yards on those catches, but PPR, those are points, baby. You know, Dobbins, he had 2 separate runs of 46 yards and 61 yards in the second half. The dude is a monster. He just got to stay healthy, and that's your biggest concern. But right now, he's a waiver wire ad. You're not spending too much value on him. If you got the waiver one priority, I think I would. It's him or likely for me, but I would lean Dobbins really down the stretch. I think as long as he can stay healthy, he's got huge upside. He did see less carries than Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards, who had 11 carries for 26 yards. But it was clear the scheme was called for Dobbins to take the majority of the rushes outside, and he also saw a majority of the targets out of the backfield. I'm really excited. J.K. Dobbins has the Panthers this week, so which I think is a great matchup for him. I think he's going to put on a show, and I had him on the bench in one league, and I had him started in another one. He's going to be started in all my leagues this week.
He better be after the performance he put on this week, Trey. Yeah, I mean, I watched after the fact, you know, they come and they say got a game ball for J.K. Dobbins. This is a guy who's played like 4 or 5 games, I think, in the last 2 years, you know, because of injury. This guy has had a lot of issues, you know, a lot of injury things. But he looked good yesterday, Trey, or Sunday. And I'm thinking we're going to see some more of that, Trey. So I love the J.K. Dobbins ad for your running back room.
Yes, sir.
Great stuff, Trey. Great stuff. Let's move on to some wide receivers now. Some wide receivers. It was kind of a rough week for wide receiver ones, Trey.
It was, man. It was a tough week for wide receiver ones and tight ends. We'll talk about that later. But, yeah, it was a tough week for all your guys that you drafted, you know, a lot of the guys that you drafted very early in your leagues.
It was, buddy. It was. Let's move on to my first guy on my list. Okay. Rashid Shaheed, 44% rostered in sleeper leagues. The wide receiver, 15 in week 1. Went 3 for 5 for 73 yards, 1 touchdown. Man, this one kind of caught me off guard, man. We were all looking Chris Olave's way, and Rashid Shaheed said, don't sleep on your boy. And we sure did, Trey. We sure did. Carved out a big role for himself, did he? Rashid Shaheed. Got the wrong Rashid. He's a deep ball threat, Trey. Derek Carr and him have been together another year. It seems like Derek Carr wanted to give him the ball more last season, but things just weren't working out. And I've said this already about the new Cliff Cubic, what's his name? Clint Cubic, whatever. The new offensive coordinator over there. It seems like he knows what he has in Rashid Shaheed, and that's a deep ball threat. It seems like you're not going to be able to rely on a lot of targets from Rashid Shaheed, but the ones you do get are going to count, okay?
Yeah, definitely. You know, and it's kind of scary to rely on those deep ball threat guys. You know, because their weeks can be volatile. But a guy like Rashid Shaheed, I think he's not just going to get the deep balls, right? Derek Carr likes this guy. They've had, like you said, they've had more and more years together. And Rashid Shaheed really showing up and showing out. You know, he's a very athletic football player. You know, he's had a couple injuries here and there that put him out a couple games and kind of took the spotlight off of him a little bit. But I feel like all the Saints wide receiver room has had that problem over the past couple years. And Chris Olave, you know, like you said, we were kind of looking that way, but we weren't looking that way, right? Like we were not interested in drafting him, but we still figured he would be the best guy there. We just didn't think that the Saints were going to have an offense. And, you know, it looks like Derek Carr is still doing his thing, you know, throwing for 300 yards, which I'm excited for.
This is the Derek Carr that we thought we were going to get last season. I mean, will it continue? We hope so. Is he going to struggle? Absolutely. He's Derek Carr. He always does have his struggles. But this is the Derek Carr when we said Derek Carr to the Saints might be dangerous last season. This is the guy we were looking for. So welcome to the show, Derek Carr.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Driving Miss Daisy.
Yes, he is, Trey. Yes, he is.
Jumping to our next wide receiver ad on our list, I've got Alec Pierce, baby, a guy who no one has talked about all off season, and I didn't even remember that he was still on the team till I pulled up the roster in the right before the season started. But as soon as I saw his name, I said that dude's going to be a waiver wire ad.
Oh yeah,
and here he is. He only had 3 targets, right? But it was for 125 yards and a touchdown. He made a huge impact as a deep threat for Anthony Richardson. He hauled in a 60-yard touchdown in the first quarter, added a 57-yard reception in the fourth. They've got the Packers next, who gave up several deep balls to the Eagles.
Sure
and and also Anthony Richardson, kind of had said something about Alec Pierce, and people were kind of giving him slack about it, saying like, he ain't nobody or whatever. And I think he's out to kind of prove a point that Alec Pierce is somebody, and he's going to give him those deep balls week in and week out. And because Anthony Richardson is who he is, that's going to pull the defense up a little bit and get those people like Alec Pierce open deep. So another one of those guys that, probably will have some ups and downs, but could definitely be a big spot start for you and get some big plays out there.
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. Yeah. Alec Pierce, again, like you said, a guy that has made the waiver wire list every year. Now it seems like, yeah, I mean, we haven't seen a lot of Anthony Richardson, man, and maybe this is going to be one of his guys, one of the guys he can count on. Maybe him and Alec Pierce just have a connection that we don't know about. Maybe Alec Pierce is going to go nuts this season, or maybe we're overreacting. It's only been 1 week.
Sure.
But I do like Alec Pierce. I've always liked his play, his smooth route running. I feel like he's been underrated for a long time. If Anthony Richardson continue to get in the ball, I think Alec Pierce to the moon, Trey.
To the moon.
To the moon, Alice. All right, buddy. Guys, I do see your comments down in the comments section. We are going to get to those in a minute. Guys, don't forget to hit the like button, man. Show some love and support for your guys over here at Fourth and Flex.
Do it.
Let's get to another waiver wire ad, man. And this is a guy, Khalil Shakir. Now, typically on this show, we will not have waivers over 60%. That's kind of our mark. We won't go over, but I thought this guy was worth mentioning. At a 68% rostered, wide receiver 25 in week 1, went 3 for 3, 42 yards, but got a touchdown, okay? Listen, Khalil Shakir has got that familiarity with Josh Allen. He's the only guy on that team that caught a pass from a Josh Allen before the season started, okay? He's still 24 years old, believe it or not. It feels like he's been in the league forever, but he hasn't. Super athletic guy, making super athletic plays, jumping over receivers to catch that one touchdown. That was pretty awesome. And I feel like he's playing for his NFL life right now. Khalil Shakir has been in the league a couple of years. We've heard a little here, a little there, but now is his opportunity. Okay, now is his chance to prove that he is where he belongs. Okay, he's stepping up in a post-Diggs Bills team because he has to. Try.
No doubt. I actually think even with the week that Khalil Shakir had, he might even be a buy low because I really think that this team is really going to step up, and him and Josh Allen are going to have that connection, and it's going to build as the weeks go on. And we're going to be talking about Khalil Shakir a lot this year.
I like it.
Moving on to our last wide receiver waiver wire ad, another guy that no one really talked about in the offseason. We talked about him here on our show, because he's just a boring guy that no one wants to talk about. But it's Brandon Cooks, man. Another 1,000-yard guy who had so many seasons of 1,000 yards, but it's just not always shiny and neat and new. But it's Brandon Cooks, and he's on an offense with the Cowboys. He had 4 receptions on 7 targets for 40 yards and a touchdown, right? But that was 7 targets in a game script where they were dominating, right? They didn't even barely throw the ball. And Brandon Cooks got 7 targets. I think he had 25% of the target share. He's still the wide receiver 2 on this team. CeeDee Lamb is not the only one that's going to get the ball. Plus he had a rush for 5 yards, which I thought was super cool. And this offense looks to be booming. Dak just got paid. I really think Brandon Cooks is that guy that's really being slept on out there. He was on our sleeper show. Yep. And this is a guy that is still available in your leagues. Even though you didn't listen to us on the sleeper show, you didn't notice in your draft, you didn't grab him. He's still out there. Go get him this week. Brandon Cooks, baby. Absolutely.
Because if you don't, somebody will. Brandon Cooks is a guy that we know is capable of doing big things. We've seen that watching Sunday. Caught the first touchdown pass of the Cowboys season. Brandon Cooks, he's been in the league for a long time, and there's a reason that he's been in the league for a long time. It seems like the Cowboys are trying to use him in different ways now, getting rushes, stuff like that. It feels like Brandon Cooks is definitely carving out a bigger role for himself this season, and I think you should definitely go and grab him up on your waiver wire.
For sure.
Let's move on. No, that is all the wide receivers. Okay. I promised you I would get to some of your questions in the comments. So let's get it going. Okay. We got SWA. Is Caleb droppable for Baker at this point? Oof. Are we panicking on Caleb Williams already?
I mean, I don't know about panicking on Caleb Williams, but I don't hate picking up Baker.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I think going forward, I think in the after just what I've seen week 1, I think I would rather have Baker Mayfield the rest of the stretch.
I feel like,
and maybe that is a little bit of an overreaction, but maybe it's not.
Right. Okay. Look, Baker is going to struggle. I'm sure of it. He'll have his games where he's not great, but I feel like he'll have more games where he is great. We love consistency, but you can't expect it to be perfect all the time. I feel like you'll have more opportunities for it to be perfect with Baker, an experienced veteran, rather than Caleb, struggling rookie.
No doubt.
Great way to say it, right? All right, let's see here. Deadly Caillou, Montgomery or Gibbs? David Montgomery or Gibbs, Trey? Who you like?
This is the battle, man. I feel like everybody's having this problem, and I personally lean Gibbs, and I think you said you lean Montgomery. It's very 50-50, I think, across the board. And I think I lean Gibbs more towards PPR.
Sure.
And then non-PPR, I think I would lean Montgomery just as slightly. But shiny new toy, you know what I mean? That's my insides tell me shiny new toy, pick the one that's brand new, and maybe that's the wrong decision, but I personally lean Gibbs.
I'm with you, man. I could definitely, I love Gibbs. I love Gibbs, but it seems like they love Montgomery just a little bit more. And that's why I'm leaning towards Montgomery, because we were on the Gibbs train last season. Then David Montgomery came out and just took like 60% of the snaps.
100%.
Gibbs still got his because he is a dynamic player, but I feel like Montgomery is going to have more opportunities to do that stuff, Trey.
Sure. And I think that they're, a little more inclined to run Montgomery through the mud. Than they are their prize pick in Gibbs. So I get it, definitely. I just, my injury is still there as well.
Always.
But there's injury there for Gibbs as well, too. So, I think, honestly, you're not going to go wrong either one. I just personally wouldn't want both.
Absolutely. I'm with you. Getting some love over on Twitch, guys. Follow us on Twitch. We appreciate it, man. We love it over there on Twitch, baby. Let's see. Bobby Ort, would you trade Travis Kelce and Herbert for Kyler and Njoku in a super flex? Hunter Henry would be my tight end until Njoku is back. So he does have a plan for that, Trey.
Yeah, man. I'm not making that trade. Nah. I'm not overreacting to Kelce. I think Herbert is still going to have a good year going forward. I do like Kyler, but I don't like Njoku at all this year. Really? I think you can we're about to talk about 4 tight ends that I would rather have over Njoku. I love Njoku myself as a player, but it's not somebody that I'm looking at as my fantasy team this year.
Okay, and it's just strictly because he's on the Browns. Am I right?
It's strictly because Deshaun Watson is his quarterback.
Yeah.
Now, if Deshaun Watson somehow gets hurt, or did you hear about the new allegation
Oh, yeah.
Another allegation on top of it that, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate, but could get him out of his contract.
Wow.
Which is a very interesting time for this to come up, if you know what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
Because he's not playing very well, and the team's probably looking like, what did we do? And now they might have an out. And so it's very interesting to see how this plays out. But, maybe it's nothing. Either way, if another quarterback steps in, I love Njoku. I think that any other quarterback in the league would utilize this guy more than Deshaun will.
It just seems like they don't have that connection, I'm with you. Caps for Life says Keon Coleman or Khalil Shakir, Trey.
It's Shakir for me.
Is it? Yeah. I feel like we haven't seen I feel like we haven't seen all of Coleman, obviously, yet. But at this particular moment, I'm leaning Shakir as well. Good stuff. Let's see. Caps for Life again. Josh Allen, Jacobs, A-Chain, Rice, Pittman, McBride need a flex spot. Shakir, Sutton, Coleman, Dobbs. Who's droppable?
Shakir and Sutton, Coleman, Dobbs. It's tough. I think it's Shakir or Coleman. I almost want to say Dobbs, but I think, Dobbs was on the field more than any other wide receiver on Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'm just not big on rostering too many of the same group from the same team.
I hear that.
And so I would lean Shakir and maybe try to trade Coleman.
Sure.
But, you need to drop somebody, maybe, pair somebody up. And try to work a trade there. But I definitely would probably get rid of either Shakir or Coleman. I lean Coleman, but I just don't want two receivers from the same team on my bench.
Here's my issue with Dobbs, okay? Malik Willis. That's all I got to say. Do we trust Malik Willis? We couldn't trust Jordan Love to keep Dobbs going and going and going. Yeah, he's on the field, but Dobbs just doesn't ever seem to put it together. Now, I know it's week 1 and I might be overreacting, but I don't trust Malik Willis to do much, Trey.
Okay, and if by Friday the Packers have signed Ryan Tannehill, does that make you feel any better?
That makes me feel a lot better.
All right. Well, they did give him a phone call. It looks like from Sleeper News, it's not a possibility. They don't plan on it, but I hear that all the time. And then the next week they're like, and the Packers decided to sign Ryan Tannehill. So,
I like it. I like it. Bring in Tanny. I guarantee you, Tanny will find a team this year.
Oh yeah.
Don't you think? Do you think he makes it to week 8 before he finds a place?
I don't know, man. I know that last year we had more quarterbacks start in the league than ever before. And the year previous to that, we broke a record and we beat that record last year. So, quarterbacks are getting hurt more and more every year.
Yep.
And teams are going to have to start looking at the, the backup quarterback position as a lot more important than they are, as you can see with the way it's played out for the Packers.
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. All right, let's get to one more question. Then we'll get to our tight end waiver wire ads, and then we'll field a few more questions. Tarnover, in a 14-man league, I traded A.J. Brown, Pickens, and Javonte for Pickens, Ford, and Wilson. Is that a W or an L?
You traded A.J. Brown, Pickens, and Javonte for Pickens, Ford, and Wilson?
Yeah. Okay.
There's double Pickens there. Is that?
What is it? I traded A.J. Brown, Pickens, and Javonte for Pickens. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that a W? Let's give him the W, Trey.
Let's give him the W.
Get the W, buddy. You get it. Oh, man. Here we go. What we got? I got one more. Crossed. Would you do Jaden Reed, Mixon, and Caleb Williams for Pacheco, Burrow, and Olave? Oof.
I'm sticking with Jaden Reed, Mixon, and Caleb Williams. I'm sticking with that. So if that's the side you have, I would stick with it. If you're looking for the other side, I would make that trade all day.
Well, yeah, Reed has been great. Mixon has been great. Caleb is like the only weakness on that side.
Yeah, so you're going Caleb or you're going Burrow over Caleb for what?
Right.
I mean, we don't even know what Burrow looks like. He didn't look great in week 1.
Yeah.
So I'm sticking with Reed and Mixon, and I'll pick up Baker Mayfield off the waivers.
Okay, guys. I do see your questions in the comments. I'm going to mark my place right here. I'm going to get to you, I promise. If you're watching on YouTube, guys, go ahead and hit that like button, man. Show your boys some love over here on 4th and Flex so we can answer those questions. Yeah, I love it. I love it. You guys don't forget to check down in the description, man. You can become a flexaholic and get some one-on-one action. Get in a Discord channel with your boys over here and just kind of get some one-on-one advice, man. Me and Trey and you. All your questions answered whenever you need them answered. Okay, get in that. Become a flexaholic. It's not that. It's cheap. It's cheap. We're cheap help.
Cheap help.
All right, buddy. But let's get to some tight end waiver wire ads for week 2. Guys, you can still put those questions down in the comments because we will get to them. Okay. Starting off my tight end waiver wire ads, I've got Isaiah Likely. Now, yeah, we're waiting for this one to come out, weren't you? 31% rostered. Somehow still, I'm sure that number is constantly rising. Tight end 1 on the week. Yeah, give it to your boy. Went 9 of 12, 111 yards, 1 touchdown, almost 2. A toe away from 2, Trey. Just throwing that out there. Look, he outplayed every tight end in week 1. That includes Mark Andrews. That includes Travis Kelce. Okay. Isaiah Likely, I know people are panicking. Should I get rid of Mark Andrews and get Isaiah Likely? Should I just get rid of Mark Andrews? That's a really tough question after seeing 1 week. I will tell you this. I feel like Isaiah Likely is slowly starting to take over. From what I've seen, they were using Mark Andrews in more blocking sets and rather than receiving sets. Mark Andrews really worked hard to come back this season. Maybe he's not. He says he's 100. Maybe he's 98. And the team is liking more what they're seeing out of Isaiah Likely. I really feel like having Mark Andrews these days is a scary game, Trey.
Yeah, man. I didn't draft Mark Andrews at all because of that. Mm-hmm. You know, the last game that the Ravens played before this week, last year, Isaiah Likely, that final game of the season, Isaiah Likely had 8 targets. Uh-huh. I think the team is slowly realizing that Isaiah Likely might be a better option. And this week it definitely was. You know, I actually went against Isaiah Likely in a league. So, you know, tough pull there. I did end up winning.
Hey,
but you know, I barely pulled it off. Isaiah Likely really was putting it on me. You know, if you look at the numbers, I think he had 20 points, and the tight end 2 had 10. The tight end 7 had 6. So tough week, and he almost would have had 30. You know, if he would have got that. You know, like you said, a toe for 2.
Yeah, seems likely.
Yeah, so I'm big on the Isaiah Likely ad. I think that Mark Andrews, like, yeah, sure, you can try to trade him, but you better have a Ravens fan in your league.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy, absolutely. But let's see who's next on the list, buddy.
Moving on to the next guy on our list, we've got Foster Moreau, a guy you brought up a little bit earlier when we were talking about Derek Carr. 4 catches on 4 targets for 43 yards and a touchdown. His target count surprisingly was ahead of Jawan Johnson, who had 3, Taysom Hill, who had 2. But assuming he entered the concussion protocol, I think he needs to complete the 5 steps, and then he'll be ready to go. But I think Foster Moreau is a solid. You know, I think I remember last year we were talking about Foster Moreau a lot in the preseason.
Oh yeah.
And then it didn't really show too much greatness. But it looks like that Derek Carr is starting to lean that direction. You know, another year, another kind of coolness to him and to the team, and I think that Foster Moreau will be a great ad.
Absolutely, buddy. I've always liked Foster Moreau's game, the way he plays. He can block and then get out in those 2 tight end sets. He's able to hit the block, spin, and get out there and be open. And then that's how a lot of tight ends make their bread and butter when the receiving game, man. And Foster Moreau, I feel like has been completely underrated. Really just hasn't had the opportunity. It feels like maybe they've not quite ever trusted him enough to be that guy. Honestly, tight end 6 made 6 points. How could you do much worse with Foster Moreau as your tight end 1?
No doubt. And I think shout out Bayou Bengal. I think he was big on Foster Moreau last year off season. You know, he is a big Saints fan and everything like that, but he was really talking him up, and I think that's where my mind went when I was thinking about last year with Foster Moreau. So shout out Bayou Bengal.
Yeah, shout out Bayou Bengal Fantasy Network, man. Great guy over there. Love that guy. Always solid. Get to another tight end on my waiver wire list. It's a guy that has been in the league for a long time, kind of a journeyman of tight ends, you might say. Zach Ertz, 17% rostered in sleeper leagues, 3 of 4 targets for 28 yards. It wasn't that great, okay, from what we saw. Again, it was better than a lot of tight ends out there. But listen, he played 70% of the snaps. Now, for an older guy, that is not saying that's saying a lot, okay? He ran the 2nd most routes on the team. also over on the Commanders. Jaden Daniels is the issue here in this first game, I'll say at least. I watched that game, and every time he got the opportunity, he took off running, okay? I think after watching the all 52 and actually sitting down and having the coaches go over it, they're going to tell this guy that he needs to start concentrating more on his players, okay? And Zach Ertz is a veteran that can always get out there, okay? Jaden Daniels I didn't even see him get to his third read. He saw his first read and he'd run before even seen his first read. Now, as time progresses and Jaden Daniels gets better, Zach Ertz is going to go up too. So get Zach Ertz on your team if you're needing a tight end, Trey.
No doubt, no doubt. You know, and Zach Ertz, another guy that I felt like was slept on this offseason, and I slept on him this offseason, which is crazy because he's one of my favorite players in the league, has been for several years. And but I remember watching a clip in the offseason that said something like Zach Ertz is washed, he's about to retire, doesn't look good on the team not looking good for him. And so I kind of didn't even think about Zach Ertz again until right up to the draft, and I was like, Zach Ertz, huh? And then week one, he did all right. And, definitely the way the tight end room is set up, I think Zach Ertz is going to be a more consistent guy than a lot of the guys you're going to find out there. So I like the ad.
Exactly.
Moving on to our last tight end waiver wire ad, Colby Parkinson, baby. Yes, sir. Finished with 4 receptions on 5 targets for 47 yards. Tyler Higbee's knee still remains on the PUP list, so you got a couple more weeks at least with Colby Parkinson. But there's no current timetable for a potential return for Higbee, so it could be Parkinson going forward. The Rams are a very offensive-minded team, and the only experienced tight ends puts him in a positive fantasy position.
Absolutely.
I think that Colby Parkinson is going to be a great guy with this Rams offense. And Tyler Higbee had moments. And the way that Stafford moves the ball around, especially with Puka going out, I think that Colby Parkinson is going to surprise a lot of people. I heard a couple people talking about him in the offseason, and I actually had to look him up. And after watching him, I think this dude is a solid ball player.
Absolutely, yeah. Cody Parkinson. Wasn't he on Seattle, right? Didn't he come from Seattle?
He was, yeah. He came from Seattle.
He came from Seattle, Cody Parkinson. Look, I watched that game in the Rams, and then the Rams do a lot of play action, a lot of short throws. Who's the guy that always goes out short most of the time? It's your tight end, okay? That's why Cody Parkinson's a great ad. I think he has great hands, catches the ball amazingly. This is a guy that you're going to want on your team as tight end. If you're in a tight end premium league, which seems to be becoming very, very popular, you're going to get a lot of receptions out of him. And that's what you want, man. That's what you want in such a volatile position as tight end. Trey.
No doubt.
Good stuff. I'm loving it, Trey. I'm loving it, man. That's your waiver wire ads, man. We've got a lot more to come. We've got some trade Dat Dude coming up with some buy low, sell high. We've got some players for your gag bag. Stay tuned to find out what the gag bag is. But we're going to get to a couple more questions, Trey. You like it?
I love it.
All right, let's see here. VV8 says, I lost love. Guy offered me Jaden Daniels and Zamir White for Gibbs. My other running back is Kenneth Walker III. It's a 10-team PPR. What are your thoughts, Trey?
Man, I would definitely love to know what kind of quarterbacks are on your waiver wire.
Yeah.
But I don't. I like the Jaden Daniels move. Obviously, not great for football, but gonna be great for fantasy as much as he runs. You're struggling with Jordan Love, being out and everything like that. I hate to get rid of Gibbs because Zamir is really to me that trade is more Jaden Daniels for Gibbs. Zamir is a little bit, but it's nothing going to be crazy. You'll probably have him on your bench most of the year. Yeah. So it's I would definitely want to know what's out there on your waiver wire. If you had a guy like Baker Mayfield or another one of our guys on our list that we said earlier, like a Derek Carr even, I think I would try to grab up before I made a trade like that.
And unless you're in a league where people are stashing QBs, it's a 10-team league. So there should absolutely be some quarterbacks on the wire. Maybe he's looking for the guy with that upside with the legs, and that's why he likes Jaden Daniels. I'm just saying they're not going to put Jordan Love on IR, which means he probably will miss 2 to 3 games. Honestly, we'll see how that all shakes out, obviously. But I just feel like there maybe is somebody in the on the wire that you could pick up, so you don't have to lose one of your star players in Gibbs.
Yeah, and I think when Love comes back, he'll be just as sufficient, and you won't have to have lost Gibbs.
Exactly. Oh, great stuff. What do we got here? Millie Mills, what's happening? What's up, fellas? I'm new here. Thoughts on this trade? Monty and JMO for A-Rich. I lost Love, and now I'm getting A-Rich. Got Stevenson on my bench already. Anthony Richardson. Let's see. On the Monty and JMO for Anthony Richardson.
I actually like that trade, man. Anthony Richardson, obviously you're worried about injury, but if this dude doesn't have an injury, QB1 on week 1, and I don't want to overreact, but a lot of people have been seeing this coming.
Yeah.
This seems to be the trend, and as long as he can stay healthy, he might stay there all year long. You lost Love, and when Love comes back, you can use Love to trade off. If A-Rich is still continuing, if not, then that might be a little bit more painful for you. But I don't hate this trade at all.
Yeah, no, I like it. Let's keep it rolling. Let's see here. Oh man, trade Puka got Keon, G. Willie, and Terry McLaurin.
I love everybody's nicknames for all these players.
I know, like we're pretty
That's
good.
awesome.
If we're doing pretty good too. Like there's a couple.
A-Rich and G. Willie.
I know. There's a couple of them. I look at them like, who is he?
You got a second? Okay.
Like A-Rich took me a minute.
Yeah.
I won't lie. A-Rich took me a minute, but I got it. Trade Puka. He's got Keon, G. Willie, and Terry McLaurin. Do you think you should trade Puka?
Yeah, man. It depends on if your league has an IR spot. If you have an IR spot, I would just drop him down there and rock it out. You're not going to get too much value for Puka right now because he's out for 4 weeks. But you got to do what you got to do if you got to find a new receiver and you don't want dead space on your bench. But if you have an IR spot, drop him down there and don't even think about it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe throw him in the IR, wait till he's getting close, right? If you really think like it's just not worth it with the injury, wait till like he's coming back next week, bro, and then start throwing trade. Put Puka on the block. You know what I mean?
Yes,
see what you can get for him. Because if you're really just done with the whole Puka thing, then I don't hate trading him.
Yeah.
I really think that everybody slept on Cooper Kupp, and they're just like, this is what we were talking about, Like, I'm not saying like I knew Puka would get hurt. I'm just saying like I knew Coop would be efficient, and he's going to continue to be efficient.
Sure.
All right, let's see here. Let's see what we got. Okay. Hey, VV8 says I also picked up Jordan Mason on Friday for free.
Yeah, that was a guy. Did we mention him in the front end? If Jordan Mason is available in your leagues, I would take him over all the running back ads we had today. But there was just so many people that picked him up before Monday that his percentage rose so quickly that we left him off the list. But I think he's going to be solid going forward, even when McCaffrey gets back.
Yeah, buddy. Hey, here we go. Yasima, how you say that? Yasima says trade Zamir for who?
Yeah, man, I definitely would if I were you. But for who is the question? I think that if you got a guy in your league that's a big injury worry kind of guy, he's always worried about injury. I would go try to trade him for J.K. Dobbins. It'll be hard to do that, but if the guy is stressed about injury, all you got to do is bring up the ACL tear. Only played a couple games the last couple years. I mean, you can convince people. Trades are all about convincing, right? You can make any trade happen if you know the right thing to say. So definitely, I would shop him around. I mean, maybe some guys. Jumping to trade that dude, but my buy low this week, Puka Nacua. I think if my league had an IR spot, we were just talking about it, but I think right now is the time to go get Puka Nacua, right? The time to trade Puka Nacua would be in 4 weeks, but right now you go get Puka Nacua. They don't want him. They're mad. They're pissed. They drafted him, high, and he's hurt. He's out for 4 weeks. You got an IR spot. Go give him something. Give him a participation trophy. Somebody that they can fill their roster with that's playing right now. Get you some Puka Nacua, drop him in your IR spot, and expect to do great things in 4 weeks. Because I think that even with Cooper Kupp doing as well as he is, when Puka Nacua gets back, I think he's going to actually get some solid work. I think this offense moves the way they do by moving the ball around, and I think Puka's going to be a big recipient of that when he gets back.
I like it, Trey. Sorry you had to get in on your trade that dude a little early, but we made it happen. Let's see. Elias says, would you guys trade CD for Cup and A-Chain?
Whew, that's a tough one, man. Personally, as who I am as a person, 100% I would do that trade all day. But for fantasy and being legit and trying to help you out with your team, I would also do that trade all day. I think that's it's a tough trade to make when you're trading big guys like that. But obviously, A-Chain already questionable with the ankle injury, and so your biggest worry is injury there. And Cup is not, stray away from injuries either. So you're definitely worried about injury with both these guys. But like we always say, if you're worried about injury, you're going to lose your week and your league. Right. Because you can't live in the future like that. You got to get these guys and lock them in while they're killing it. CD Lamb, a guy wide receiver 1 last year. But I think that with Cup and A-Chain, you might have 1-1 of RBM wide receiver this year. So the potential is through the roof there. I think that, if you're solid locked in with great running backs and solid wide receivers, just stick where you're at. But if you're looking for a running back and your running backs had killed you in week 1 and you might have a guy like Zamir White, I would make that trade all day.
For sure, buddy, for sure. Hey, VAA says, thinking about Baker off waivers unless someone snags him, how much fab do you think he's worth? How much fab is Baker worth? Obviously, that would depend on how much fab you have.
Right. It's just a percentage of your fab.
Sure.
I think that, single QB league, it really depends on what quarterback I have and how much I'm begging for a quarterback. Let's give a situation. You've got Jordan Love, right? And he's down and you want Baker and you're spending fab. I would go as far as say 20% of my fab on Baker Mayfield, I think. And I'm not a big fab spender. Some people say, week 1, they want to throw 80% of your fab at Isaiah Likely. That's not something I'll ever do. That's too rich for my blood, but I think 20% is fine for a quarterback that you can start the rest of the season.
If you had J Love and there's nobody out there and you see Baker sitting on the waivers, you know what I mean? Definitely worth it. Grab dude up, man. It's only getting better from here.
And I only say 20% because that'll probably guarantee you Baker. I think a lot of people will be in the 15% range.
Yeah.
And you just give them that extra mile, even on guys that I think no one's looking at, I throw $1 at them because I want that person.
Me too. I do the same thing. I'll throw $1 or $2. If I get them, I do. I'm happy. If not,
you don't get nobody for free in my leagues. You know what I mean?
You don't. You're right. Let's see here. Let's see what we got going on. Oh, questions still coming in. Let's get a couple more. Then we'll get to trade that dude, Trey. Breece Hall for CD. Do you do it?
I'm sticking with CD for now.
Yeah.
It's too early in the year to make a big trade like that. If you got CD, you could have had Breece Hall, in your draft. And I don't think this week 1 has changed any offseason opinion on either of those guys. So I would stay where I'm at.
Yeah, buddy. Let's see, man. Let's do this thing. We got to get to our next segment. If you got more questions, throw them down in the comments. We will get to them. Let's get to trade Dat Dude. Okay, segment trade that dude. We generally give you a sell high and a buy low. What'd you give us your sell high on?
I gave the buy low on Puka Nacua.
Give you the buy low on Puka. I'm going to get you a buy low here with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, normally, most likely, people are going to be understanding. They're going to say, okay, he started off rough, but it's Amon-Ra. It's all uphill from here. Now, there are those folks that are just like, they panic, okay? They panic, and these are the guys that you're going to want to take a little advantage of, okay? Amon-Ra is going to be all right, 100%. He is Amon-Ra St. Brown. He is a great receiver. They just didn't need him in that game, and I think that's because the Rams knew that the last time they played, the reason was Amon-Ra really tore them up, okay? So they're like, we're going to watch Amon-Ra, and if they can't, they're going to have to beat us with everyone else. And they did that, man. They did that. I just think they really had Amon-Ra wrapped up. So here, this is why I think that you can maybe take advantage of some people that are worried about how Amon-Ra St. Brown, maybe throw them a little something. Get you Amon-Ra and a wide receiver 1 for your team.
100%. And what I love about what you said about them locking down Amon-Ra, because that's the way that the Lions won last year. Now every team sees that it's not just Amon-Ra, so they can't just lock down Amon-Ra, which is going to open Amon-Ra up a little bit. they're going to have to guard other guys on this team. And I think that that's going to help Amon-Ra. And you're definitely right, man. Trades are really for those guys. Like, I'm only trading guys that are panicking constantly around every corner, because those are the guys that are going to panic trade. And panic trades are what win leagues, to be honest with you. It may feel dirty, but you take a guy and you give him an offer and he accepts it. Hey, that's on you, buddy. I'll see you in the championship.
Yep. I mean, we just real around here, man. We can't help it. We keep it 100.
100.
I think our sell high might be the same person, right? Who do you got for your sell high?
J-Mo.
Jameson, yeah, I got J-Mo too. Jameson Williams in our sell high trade. Tell him why.
Yeah, so a lot of the things we just said. Amon-Ra is going to get better. He's going to get more targets. They had to rely on Jameson Williams. Not to say that Jameson Williams is a bad player or anything, because he's amazing deep threat. The problem is the dude is a twig, and it is scary. I mean, every time he caught the ball, I was like, oh, he's out. He's out for the year. And that's what he's used to. He's constantly hurt because he's a little guy, and I'm not hating on the little guy. Sure. It just it's football. Yeah. And you have large men tackling you, and his ankles, bro, are just so small.
I was just about to say that, bro. I couldn't stop looking at his ankles. It made me feel like he's in college still. Yeah. You know what I mean? They were just very, like, every time he caught the ball and like a receiver fell on him, I'm like, that's it. They ain't got no more kneecaps for this guy.
I mean, there was a play where he was down on the ground for, a couple seconds, and I was like, oh, there it is. And then he got up and he kept going and he made some big plays.
He did.
And he's quick and he's shifty and all these things. But, I'm worried he's going to shift and throw a rib out. And I'm not hating on the man. I think he's a great player. I just think that right now is the time to sell high on him, because if he gets hurt next week, and maybe he has 2 more weeks in him, but if he gets hurt, you're going to be very disappointed and that you didn't sell on him when he was high.
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. That is going to do it for Trade Dat Dude. But now it's time for the gag bag. I told you earlier to stick around to find out what the gag bag is. The gag bag is for players that we are done with. Now, I know it's week 1, but there are still some people that you're probably willing to say, okay, I took a chance. I want to drop this guy. I don't want him on my team anymore. Trey, tell us who you got in the gag bag in week 1 already.
My gag bag in week 1 already, no problem. Dropping this dude like it's hot. Didn't draft him in any league anyway, but if you got him, I would drop him like it's hot. And that is Deshaun Watson himself. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm like the Browns. I want out of this contract. Let him go. I'm done with Deshaun Watson. That man is, I'm just done. Throw Deshaun Watson in the gag bag.
Oof. Dirty. I mean, I feel you, buddy. I feel you. I mean, look what he did to Amari Cooper. Where's Amari Cooper, man? I had him starting. I thought he was going to be great value from the places that I got Amari Cooper, and he didn't do nothing.
More like, what is it, BD Cooper? Or who was the guy that flew away and never was found or whatever?
Yeah, that's BD Cooper.
Yeah, that's Amari Cooper today, man. It's sad.
You're right about that, buddy. You're right about that. Mari Cooper, more like BD Cooper. I like it. Now, I am one of those guys that like to give everybody a chance. So for that being said, for this week 1, I don't have anybody in my gag bag, but stay tuned. Next week, I'm sure somebody will fall right in that gag bag. Yes, sir, man. Now, we've also got to get to our Thursday night football starts and sits, baby. But what do you say we answer a couple more fantasy questions, Trey, before we get into that and end this show on a positive note?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's see. Augusta says Rashad Ford London for Barkley and Flowers.
Rashad White, Jerome Ford, Drake London for Saquon Barkley and Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want Barkley
all day, baby. I want that all day.
All that says to me is like, do you want Barkley? Yes, I want Barkley.
Right.
I want the Barkley side of that. I like Rashad for PPR. I think he's going to be great. Jerome Ford gave a lackluster performance. Drake London did okay, I think. But I want Barkley. Give me some of them 3 TDs.
Give me Barkley all day.
That's what it all floats down to here. Oof, let's see what we got.
We all float down here.
They sure do. Millie Mills says, I'm hoping my league mates are grandmas so I can pick up Jalen Wright for free.
For free.
Bamboo says, I was offered Devontae Adams, Waddle, and Rashad White for my Kyron, T. Higgins, and Amari Cooper. Do I accept?
Whew. Man, that's tough.
That seems like a solid trade, though. Like, that feels fair on both sides. You know?
It does feel fair, right? But it's taking the, your two receivers, T. Higgins and Amari Cooper, right? You're going to get you some better receivers with Devontae Adams and Waddle, and then you're letting Kyron Williams go for Rashad White, which hurts. But what is T. Higgins and Amari Cooper going to look like down the stretch? Obviously, you grabbed those guys fairly high in your draft, so you might not be very deep at receiver. If you've got a couple more decent running backs on your team,
and I bet he
and I'm sure that you do exactly, I would take that trade.
Yep. Let's see.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a different guy. Sorry.
Oh, well, Bambo says also was offered Kelsey, Lad McConkey, and Jalen Warren for Amari Pollard and Mike Williams. Let's see. Kelsey, McConkey, Jalen Warren, Amari Pollard.
To me, that's more of a wash, and I would stick with what I have.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll go with you on that one. Let's see. Hunter 18 says, would you trade Chubb for BTJ? I need wide receivers.
All right, where are we doing with the abbreviations? BTJ, wide receivers.
Who's BTJ? I'm sure I'll feel stupid when we do hear it. And Chubb, we're talking about
Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, buddy, Brian Thomas Jr.
Had to really go deep in my shell there.
Did. He says I need a flex instead of Puka. Yeah, and Elias said it.
Yeah, man. If you got a guy willing to take that trade and you need a flex, I have no problem with it. Chubb is really a risk that you took in the draft that might not work out all year. You need a guy right now. I would probably look for someone a little better if I could. But Chubb is really was drafted as trade fodder, right? It's the hope of the greatness, right? And you got him, and then now you get to dangle him in front of people and but you could have this later on. It's that Family Guy thing where he's like, you want the mystery box or a brand new boat, and he's like, I'll take the mystery box. I mean, it could be $1 million. It could even be a new boat. Yeah,
I love that. Yeah, I mean, they said even when Chubb does come back, they're going to give him light duty. If you need a wide receiver and you can get a decent one right there, I would do it. I would just do it. I do have, that being said, I do have some Chubb shares floating around somewhere. And I'm going to hold on them. But if something happens and I need a running back or a wide receiver and somebody's willing to give me a decent one for the hope of Chubb maybe doing something later, I'm going to take it. So I like it. Let's see here. All right. Also, Hunter said Brian Thomas. Elias chimed in with the Brian Thomas. I guess we were a little slow on that one, buddy. Hey, coming over on Twitch live. I love it. Should I trade Derrick Henry and Mike Evans for Jonathan Taylor and injured Puka?
Woo. Yeah, I know you're not interested in that. As much as I love Jonathan Taylor and I think Puka's going to do great when he gets back, I don't want to throw away my season on a if. I think I'm sticking with Derrick Henry and Mike Evans for now, the guys that are still putting up solid numbers and producing.
I mean, Derrick Henry, I think it's going to get better from here, and Mike Evans went ham, and I feel like we're going to get another 1,000-yard season out of Mike Evans to continue the streak. So I'm sticking with that side too, buddy. I'm sticking with it. Let's see here. We got a good one here from Caesar over on YouTube. Guys, man, if we're answering your questions, if you don't mind, man, do us a favor. Just hit that like button for us. We appreciate it, man. It means the world to us. And it shows that our work is not going unnoticed. All right. Caesar says, hey, guys, in a PPR league, I had Love. Have the option of getting Carr and Darnold off the wire, and I got this trade. Kincaid and Collins for Jaden Daniels, Pitts and Jordan Mason. I have CMC.
Whew.
Yeah.
That's I was like no, and then Jordan Mason, and he has Christian McCaffrey, and so that fills in that role where you don't have Christian McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
Pitts, not a bad pickup. Kincaid, both of them have the same kind of upside, I think, this year.
Sure.
And then but you're getting rid of Nico Collins, which I don't like. But you're getting Jaden Daniels. It's a very solid trade. I think it's very fair. But personally, I think I would Man.
Yeah, it's tough.
It is tough. Just the Christian McCaffrey of it all is the toughest part of it. How long is Christian McCaffrey going to be out? That's the biggest issue I have.
Look, he also has the option. He can just pick up Carr or Donald, who both made our waiver wire list this week, and save himself the trouble. But
sure, but who's he going to put in for Christian McCaffrey? Well, I mean, hopefully he's got another guy to put in there.
Yeah.
If you're just at a loss for what to do with Christian McCaffrey and you really don't have anyone to fill that slot, I would make the trade just for Jordan Mason. But because Jaden Daniels is not the worst QB to have, and Pitts is not the worst tight end to have.
Right.
But you got to have a guy in your running back one position. I think Jordan Mason is going to fill that Christian McCaffrey role, not to its fullest extent, but solid enough. And then you got guys like Carr and Darnold on the waiver, but how long is that going to last? Is it going to continue? It's only week 1.
And he says he's got his receivers are Collins, Olave, DJ Moore, Jameson Williams, and McConkey. My running backs are CMC and Singletary. Oof.
Yeah, I'm making that trade, honestly. Yeah. I think it's a necessity.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. Your RB2 is Singletary. You should probably make that trade. Hey, Bad Wi-Fi. I like that. I love that name, by the way. Bad WHY Wi-Fi. That's good stuff. Should I drop Benson for Bucky or Mattinson?
Yeah, personally, I think you drop him for Alexander Madison. You might lean Bucky from being a Buck fan.
I don't know.
But I think I lean Madison here, especially if it's a full PPR. If it's not full PPR, I think I probably lean Bucky. But full PPR, I lean Madison.
Yeah, buddy. Bad Wi-Fi. You've got another one. Drop Rodgers for Baker.
It's tough, man. I saw this question and I was like, Aaron Rodgers played the Niners. Their defense is tough. I don't want to drop a guy drafted, overreact too much for week 1. Baker's definitely going to not have some amazing games going down the stretch. Aaron Rodgers is going to have some great games going down the stretch. Obviously the injury concern is there. And so I personally think right now I would rather have Baker, but I don't want to overreact to week 1. So, I hate dropping a quarterback that I drafted in week 1, because that to me says that I'm overreacting. And, but I like Baker. And I would hope what I would do personally, if I could make the moves, is I would add Baker and keep Aaron Rodgers, and I would go back and forth, probably lean on Baker for now, but see how it plays out. Because if you drop Aaron Rodgers, he's probably going to get picked up, and you're not going to get him back. But I personally like Baker over Rodgers.
I like Baker over Rodgers. I would probably do it, but I think Rodgers you're not going to get the Rodgers we got last week all season. I think he's going to get better. He's going to find his rhythm. He's Aaron freaking Rodgers. He loves Garrett Wilson. That's for sure. He's been talking about that a lot. So would I do it? Yes. If you can hold on to Rodgers, maybe do it. If not, just grab Baker and don't think twice about it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's see. Caesar says, thank you guys. Liked and subbed.
Thank you, Caesar.
Appreciate that. Do like Caesar, like and sub. Let's see. Hey, and Bad Wi-Fi says, thanks, boys. Probably pick up Madison. I have Zamir on my bench, so I can look up the Raiders back for you.
Yeah, definitely. Because if one of those guys get hurt, you have the locked in, which seems to be some solid work coming out of the running back room in the Raiders.
Let's see. Kevin, welcome Kevin off of YouTube. Xavier Worthy or Chris Godwin?
It's Chris Godwin all day for me. And honestly, that's a solid trade I think that could be made right now. If you have Xavier Worthy, you could probably trade straight across for Chris Godwin to the right person. Like I said, trades are all about who you're trading with. But I think Xavier Worthy is also a sell high.
Oh, yeah. You think Hollywood comes back and, what is it? He just didn't have a lot of touches.
Hollywood coming back, he only had 2 or 3 catches, and they were just deep passes on touchdowns, which,
one was a run.
Sure. And it's just the rookie thing and the game script that they were playing the Ravens and how everything worked out. I think that Chris Godwin is going to be more consistent and have bigger weeks going forward.
I agree. Guys, if you want a little more one-on-one with your fantasy football teams, please don't forget that you can go down in the description description, and you can become a Flexaholic. Go down the description, join our members only, man. Get some one-on-one with your team and some one-on-one with your boys, man. Maybe play a little Fortnite with us, play some Madden, just be a member and show your love for your boys. We appreciate it very, very much. Kevin says, thank you guys. Absolutely, Kevin. Absolutely. It's what we do. We love helping folks out, man, such as yourself. Good stuff, buddy. Good stuff. What do you think, man? Is it time for some Thursday night football?
I think it's time.
Starts and sits, baby. Yes, sir. This week, Trey, we've got the Bills at the Dolphins.
Over under for this game is 49 points. Vegas has the Dolphins picked to win by 2.5. And judging by the way both these teams played last week, I'm going to have to roll with America's team. That's the Dolphins for all of you that haven't seen Commissioner Cooper talk about it. I'm loving the Dolphins, man. Tyreek, he's unstoppable unless it's 6 state troopers. So I'm rolling with the Dolphins this week, baby.
Yeah, buddy. I'm going to have to just kindly maybe just disagree with you a little bit right there. And I'm going to go with the Bills taking the W. The Dolphins didn't play. Well, honestly, the Bills probably didn't much, but the Dolphins didn't start getting hot. It took them a second. But when they did, they got real hot. Okay. The Bills just are the type of team that can seem to get out of a lot of things. Josh Allen throws this team on his back, and I think that's what's going to happen. Here we go. I like it. Let's go ahead and jump. Oh, it's Suave Dream says Bills, baby, Bills. Oh, I like it. He says because the Dolphins struggled versus the Jags. And that's what I'm saying. Like they feel like they struggled, but they started to get it together finally, but they did struggle. Let's take the Bills, baby, with our boy Suave Dreams over on Twitch. Let's get to some Bills starts in this game for your fantasy football teams. Let's start with the Bills, man. We've got Josh Allen. You're starting that guy up. QB1 last season. Start him up. James Cook is somebody that Josh Allen can lean on just a little bit. You got to start up old James Cook. I'm going to start up Dalton Kincaid in the tight end spot. I think he has a good game here in prime time. And Khalil Shakir is the wide receiver 1 on the depth chart, so let's keep starting that guy up. And I'm going to start Curtis Samuel one more time at least. Look, okay, I've been blowing the Curtis Samuel horn a lot. He didn't do much. I think game script all depended on that. I think they're going to get Curtis Samuel in there to do more things. I'm not giving up on you yet, buddy. I know you're old, but you still got it, baby. Curtis Samuel, start him up, Trey.
I like it. Jumping to my Dolphins starts, you got to stop the cheetah, who is just unstoppable. Like I said, Tyreek Hill, baby. A-Chain and Mostert did not practice today. A-Chain hurt with an ankle injury, questionable. Mostert questionable with a chest injury. I think that obviously this comes down to who's going to start. If either one of them start, I'm happy to start either one of them. Sure. They're not going to let them go with the injury history of these guys. They're not going to put them in this game unless they are good to go. If they're both out, Jalen Wright is out there most likely, and I would put him in, but I would be scared to touch Jeff Wilson, who is ahead of Jalen Wright in the depth chart. Okay. However, I'm leaning Jalen Wright if all these guys are out.
Jeff Wilson Jr. still over there?
He is. He's third on the depth chart, but Jalen Wright is just looking beautiful in the preseason, and I think that they would lean on him more. Yeah. You got to start Tua Tagovailoa. And Jalen Waddle, questionable and was out, but he's back and ready to go. So I'm firing him up, and I'm not touching Durham Smythe.
Yeah, I don't blame you, buddy. I don't think his wife would like that much either. Oh, man. Oh, I can't wait, man. Thursday Night Football is going to be a banger, huh?
Yeah, man, I think it's going to be a solid one. Really, a lot of the games that so far this year have just been bangers, and I don't know if it's because I've been without football for so long, but all of these games just seem to be like great matchups. I mean, the Lions and the Rams freaking was phenomenal. Yeah. Just a lot of great games this week. The Jets and the Niners, as much as I don't really care to watch the Niners because I've seen them so much, it was a good game.
It really was. I mean, there were a couple duds last season. I'm sure there's going to be some duds this season. But maybe they're just trying to be a little more, up on it and get us some better games. I hope so, especially the primetime games, man. Don't give us some Giants versus Steelers or something like that. Give us some bangers, man. And I like it. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Oh, guys, appreciate the love, man. Thank you, everybody, coming out. asking questions, man. It's what we do. It's what we love to do. I'm going to remind you guys one more time to check out Underdogg Fantasy if you haven't done that already. Use our code FLEXY for a $100 deposit match, man. Underdogg Fantasy, man. Get in there with them over-unders. It's not just best ball. They have all kinds of stuff that can really get you going. Throw $100 in there. Get 200 and turn that into, who knows, 1,000? Well, I mean, it depends.
10,000.
10,000. I like it, Trey. I like it, man. Oh, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. And we shall see thee on the next one.
Peace.
Balls to steal this guy. He's got big balls.